Good afternoon, faithful viewers, and welcome to Misery. This bathroom has been the victim of negligent plumbing. This wall has been sinking since it began. Look, they ran the toilet flange through the path of one joist. And a 4-inch stack through another joist, through both wall plates, of course, leaving the only thing to support this wall being the drywall. That didn't work. So now I gotta work in this horrible crawl space. So what we're gonna do is remove all this plumbing to start with. It could stand to be redone anyway, and it's blocking travel in here. Jack this up, put in some new floor joists, get everything supported, and then replumb in a way that doesn't destroy the structure. So, we're gonna cut this vertical stack right here so we can tie back into it. There's no reason not to reuse that. So it'll need to be supported from above. It goes straight on up and through the roof. So we'll have to make a little jig to support that. Okay, there's the hole to go around the pipe. And give it some feet here to get around the roof flashing. Just cut a bit of an angle on this so that it will rest on the roof properly. It looks like we'll be replacing this roof flashing before we're done too. Anyway, there that rests. It's in a pretty good bind like this. We'll put in a couple screws. Just to snag that there, and then an extra bit of safety, a clamp. Yeah. There we go. Now to make ourselves some room, we'll cut this shower drain out of the work area. Loosen this clamp. There's no sense in keeping any of these galvanized water lines, so we'll cut all those out of our way for now. We'll redo this whole thing in PEX. There was an old light bar in the wall behind the sink. And about the easiest thing to get to cut through this cast iron pipe is your dry cut diamond wheel and a grinder. There's a fun spot to make a cut. And it's free. That thing weighs about 80 pounds. Hey, I just broke the wall clock. That's, yeah, by the garage door. I slammed the door and it fell down. Yeah. Looks like this drain might be okay from here. We'll flow test it tomorrow. And when you're working on drains, you want to close them back up at the first opportunity to prevent gases from entering the home. For it's not just an unpleasant smell, but also a fire hazard. There we go. So, on to structural matters. We're missing 2 joists here, and this one supporting the wall cannot go back in place because of the plumbing stack, which we will reuse. So, we're going to double up the joist on either side of it. And with a 2x10 rather than an 8 here, for these are overspanned at about 13 feet long. We'll double this one here, and we'll put a double on this one that's gone at the end here, and then box across to support this wall after jacking everything up to as straight a position as we can get it to go. So it's nice to see this blocking here. People don't always bother to do that, but we'll have to remove the blocks in the area that we need to work. So I'll just use the Sawzall and cut the nails. So here we are at the joist on the other side of this bathroom wall that we're going to be doubling up to help support our disaster here. And that'll be first since it's farthest back and we don't want to put things in our way. Here I have my fancy straightness gauge installed here, commonly referred to as a string. And you see this one has chalk on it because I, being an honest person, can only afford the 1 string. But if you're one of those wealthy people who can afford a full array of specialty strings, feel free to use your chalkless string for this application. Anyhow, this string being attached relatively flush to the bottom of the joist at each end, you can see that this joist has been pulled down about a ½ an inch by the extra load of this sinking wall and the sturdy old wood flooring that ties it all together. So we'll want to jack this up until it's straight or if possible even a little beyond that, to give it room to sag again when the load is applied, before we double this up. We'll use glue and screws to attach a 2x10 to the side of this 2x8. Okay, so for jacking time, you want a nice wide sturdy base, resting level if possible. And then you'll also want to use a block to spread the load out on the top surface. And a short hydraulic jack is nice, but the one I have with me today is all rusted up. So these jacks that came with the old Nissan and Datsun trucks that all the cool people drive, they work pretty well for this sort of thing too. Let's see if it can do it. Looks like progress. I don't know if you can see a relationship to that string, or hear the crackling above, but it's doing it, no problem. So there it is, a little bit above straight. So now we can start preparing our second joist. It looks like someone left their fancy chocolate string down here, working on this beam. Okay, so here you see at our center beam, an old way of doing things was to put a board flat on the bottom of the beam as a ledger, as a support for the joists. And it pretty much works. But we can do a lot better today. This is only held up by nails, of course, so one thing you can do to greatly improve this is shoot some screws in here. But what I'm gonna do for our doubled joist here is I'll probably put a jack under this end of the joist to help get some clearance, so that after they're both on, I can put this double hanger in here and slide it all the way in tight to the beam and screw it in all over the place. And before a joist can go in here, we'll have to clear all sorts of nails out of the way, either bending them over with a hammer or cutting them off with a sawzall. And I mentioned we're putting a 2x10 on the side of this 2x8, so I'll just notch it on each end for the ledger here, and over at the other end it's sitting on a foundation wall on a plate. We'll just notch it near the end here and treat it like another 2x8 where we attach it at each end, because that will not affect its ability to resist deflection in the center. So I'll just hook on here and crawl my way to the other end and get a measurement for our new joist. Okay, now it's time to cut our first joist to length, and you can see I'm using treated lumber as extra insurance because of our shallow old crawl space and the potential moisture of that. This will ensure that this repair lasts pretty much forever. And since you're almost always going to be cutting something off of your board, this is a great opportunity to remove defects from the ends. So inspect both ends first. with a notching on each end to make it like a 2x8 at its bearing points. You want to figure out which is right side up here. You want to find what they call the crown, which is that most boards have a curvature in this, what is the vertical direction in a floor joist orientation. And you want to have it arch up so it will better resist the load on top of it and wind up closer to flat when loaded, as opposed to bowed down like our floor is now. Now that I've ensured a good fit here, I can lay it back down and put glue on the other joist. And with that glued, we can stand the new joist back in place. And begin screwing it to the other one. Okay, that's all screwed in place, and we'll leave this jack here supported overnight to let the glue cure. We'll come back tomorrow and put that hanger in on the end like I talked about, and then we'll remove the jack. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.